here. Welcome back to another video on my channel. I have two new collections from Fuzion for you today, and it is the Fuzion Paintz collection. We have their summer collection. There's two of them. There's one called Soft and Subtle, and then there's one called Fresh and Bright. So you have two different options for paint selection, and I really appreciate that. If you've never worked with a Fuzion paints before, they're mostly designed for nail art. So they cure to a tack-free finish, which I personally really like. So if I'm doing any sort of art with, let's say, hand painting and sugaring, I prefer to use something like the Fuzion paints that cures tack-free. It's also nice for if you're going to do nail art on top of a finished filed nail. So in this video, we are going to go through both of the collections. We're going to talk about the different shades. I will do swatches of them so you can see the different colors of them as well. And as I'm going through, I'm going to give you ideas of how I would use the different shades for different types of nail art. You can definitely use these as a color themselves. Because they cure tack-free, it's not recommended to embed them. It is recommended to do them on top of a finished filed nail on their own. They're highly pigmented, so you want to make sure that you're working very thin with them. They also are a 2-minute UV/LED cure, so make sure that you keep that in mind when you're doing your curing time too, just to make sure everything cures fully, especially with how pigmented they are. So with all of that said, let's dive in. I think that I want to start with the Brights collection first here. So the Fuzion paints come in 8-gram containers as well. So they are measured by weight when they are poured, and they have the little swatch stick here too so that you can put the color on top of them as well. First shade up is Blue 111. It is a brighter medium blue shade. When I'm applying these for the video, I'm just going to paint them on. I am using my Fuzion number 6 colors brush, because I prefer a brush that has like a bigger head when you're doing kind of on top products and doing more of a paint on method than a floating method. So typically when you work with your hard gels, you're going to do more of like a floating method, but you not want to do that with the Fuzion paints because they are highly pigmented. So you will definitely have problems with them curing if you are going to float them on. So make sure you're giving them a nice kind of painted on application. I also figured I would just show you guys quickly how I do the little label on the top as well. I know I've done it in a video before, but it is just a little bit different because you don't want to work as thick with the paint. So I'm anchoring my pinky here. That's why it's like that. I'm just going to push these around here too. I like to try and fill in the whole dot, but sometimes it just doesn't happen and it's not like actually perfect. With these actually curing tack-free, it'll be really nice because then you don't have to, I don't think you'll have to put top gloss on it. It'll just be ready to go. And this is what Blue 11 looks like. A nice lighter bright blue. Next up we have Yellow 106. It's nice to see a yellow in this collection. And then this is what Yellow 106 looks like. It's a bright yellow, great for summer. I wouldn't call it like a fluorescent neon color, but it is still really nice and bright. I don't have all of the paints from Fuzion to do like a bunch of comparisons to different shades and such. So this is just gonna be a swatch video, but the numbers kind of give you an idea of how many different colors that they have in their paint selection, put into like their new packaging and such, but they still have a wide variety of different shades as well. I always find yellows really interesting to swatch because yellows are probably one of the easiest colors to streak. I would imagine for companies it's difficult to make yellows that don't streak. This is what Yellow 106 looks like. So I found this to go on pretty nice, but you will notice a little bit of shadowing here, so it might take a little bit to kind of work out when you're working with it, but I think that this will work fantastic for nail art. If you are noticing that it might be a little bit too shadowy for your liking, just go in with 2 super thin coats. I have 2 oranges in the collection, so the first one up is called Orange 103, and we can tell just by the numbers that orange is something that they're looking to add to their lineup just because they don't have too many of them. So this is a really bright neon orange. If you think of like a highlighter neon, that is exactly what this type of shade is. I definitely find that like with how pigmented these are, I really have to give my brush a super good clean in between. This is what the Orange 103 looks like. I'm very happy with how this applied. I don't notice like any streaking really that I had to work out. It went on a nice like one coat thin coverage, and it's a really, really super bright orange. So if you're looking to do any sort of hand painting with a neon orange or neon brighter type of colors, this is definitely a bright neon orange to do some great nail art with. This bright orange would actually be really good for Halloween nail art too, if you wanted something that was like a little bit more bold or a little bit more fun for Halloween time. The second orange one that we have is Orange 104, and this is more of a peachy orange, which is fantastic for springtime, but this is great for floral nail art too. This is what Orange 104 looks like, a really nice peachy light orange, like a light creamsicle color is what I would describe this as. Next one up that we have here is Coral 107. Coral 107 is a bright coral, but it has quite a bit of pink undertones to it, which I really like. If I'm gonna pick a coral, I tend to gravitate towards more of the pinky tones. So I really like that about this one. I remember back in the day when there wasn't as many nail art choices out there, and I would hand paint a lot more with like the paints that I had in my collection. It was so hard to get a good coral. I ended up buying some craft paint that was a coral color and use that all the time because I remember it just being so popular that specific year. So if I was doing hand painted animal print or anything, and if I wanted to tie in some coral animal print, that's what I would use. So this color kind of reminds me of that because I wish I would have had a shade like this. This is so pretty. I love this coral shade. Coral 107, a nice bright peachy pink type of coral shade. So pretty. Love, love, love this. Orange 104 and Coral 107, so you guys can see them here. So the Orange 104 is definitely more of like a light creamsicle color, and then Coral 107 is more of like your true coral type of shade. But these would pair fantastic for like an ombre type of nail. And the very last color in the Fresh and Bright collection is Pink 112. So it's not a fluorescent highlighter pink. It's a little bit darker than that, but I think this is going to be a really great shade. I feel like I'm really going to like this shade of pink. This is a Talia shade of pink for sure. It's stunning. Oh, I love this. Okay, so I know sometimes I talk about colors having like a jelly look to them. So they look like they're a little bit milky, a little bit see-through. So this one I feel like has that jelly kind of look to it, but it's not at all see-through. Like it's going on super, super pigmented. This is what Pink 112 looks like. This would be a great pink shade if you're wearing it all over your nails to carry you from summer to fall too. Like a really nice kind of transition just because it's a little bit darker. But I can see so many fun designs done for like hand painting with this. There's a quick lineup of the new Fresh and Bright paint colors. So some nice colors for summer, some brighter shades. A soft and subtle collection. So this collection features a bunch of different neutral shades, and then we have a white in here too. I actually really want to start with that white because it's a really interesting white. So White 102. This is pretty. This is such a beautiful color. It is a shimmery iridescent white. I am going to give this one a little bit of a stir here. I don't usually find that the Fuzion paints need a stir, but with this one you can definitely tell that it's got some iridescent kind of pigments in it, so those might separate. I love how this is like a creamy white too, which I think are great options if you're using them as backgrounds, because sometimes you don't want that like white out, white, super bright look for a background. You want something that's a little bit soft and a little bit creamy, such as this one. I'm going to show applying it on a swatch stick here too, because it looks like it's going on super full coverage, but I'm just really kind of curious if it's got a little bit more of a sheerness to it than I'm seeing. Oh, that is stunning. It is just such a pretty white. I feel like it's a little bit sheer, like you can see here. I'm gonna do one more thin coat on here just to build it up. Okay, so this is what Paint 102 looks like. Really nice, soft, creamy white color. These colors are fantastic for marbling with, kind of break up whatever colors you're marbling with. And also these, because it is a little bit sheer, I do think this would be a really good layering color too. Like you could layer it over top of any of the other paints here or any of the color that you already have on the nails, and it would just add like a soft kind of iridescent look to it. Like that would look so pretty, just kind of layered over top to give it a really nice kind of sheen. So it is just a little bit see-through. I only did one really thin coat on the swatch stick here because I was just kind of curious to see how well it would layer at. Neutral 105. And this is like a pinky neutral. I love these type of shades. They came out with this nude collection when they had their on top line, and the colors in there that they had picked for neutrals were just so stunning. And some of these shades kind of remind me of that collection. This is what neutral 105 looks like, a nice soft pink neutral shade. Next up is neutral 106. And this is a little bit more pinky than the last one. So the last one had more of like a neutral vibe to it. And this one is more pink. This is neutral 106. A nice light pink color. Neutral 107. And this is a rosy neutral. A little bit darker toned, which, oh, now that I'm applying it, it has more of a pinky tone to it than I thought it would. This is what neutral 107 looks like. It's a medium rosy neutral type of shade. There's definitely some rosy undertones to this. Neutral 108. And this one is just a little bit darker and a little bit more rosy than the 107. These last two, I'm noticing when they apply, like, I don't know, they seem to apply a little bit more smooth than some of the other ones. Initially, I thought they were going to go on as like not super pigmented just because they were applying so nice. I thought maybe they would shadow a bit or something. It's almost like it just kind of melts into each other. I don't know. It was just the last two nudes that I noticed that with. And this is neutral 108. This is such a pretty color. I love that it has kind of like a rosy taupe type of finish to it too. Okay, so the very last neutral in the collection is neutral 109, more of our lighter type of neutral. See, this one has like more of a paint on feel to me. It's so weird, maybe I'm just like imagining it, but it just felt like the other one, the last two, it just kind of melted into itself. It didn't feel as like paint on, it felt more jelly, I guess. This is what neutral 109 looks like. Light neutral shade. Here's our look at both of the collections here that Fuzion is launching for their summer paints. So we have the soft and subtle collection over here all kind of lined up. Then we have our fresh and bright collection all lined up over there too. So a good variety of different colors. The neutral collection, like I said, I love when companies launch neutral collections like this. I feel like you can just never have too many neutrals in your collection. They're great for hand painting art, especially like floral designs, or if you're doing character designs, anything like that. A really nice collection to have, and a good layering piece over here with this one too. And then just some colors that we're missing from the paint lineup too that will fill in some of those gaps and be perfect for the upcoming months for summer nail art. So comment below and let me know if you've tried the Fuzion paints before, what you think about them. They are one of my favorite brands for gel paints. If anybody asks me what gel paints I recommend, I like to recommend these ones because of the quality of them, but I also like that they cure to attack refinish. That is a great selling feature for me because I see so much potential with different nail art just with that feature alone. So make sure you're following me on all my social media, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!